Vanessa Ivy Rose.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Vanessa's going to be at the Festival of Books and Creativity at the end of June, and we'll be at the 12-mile crossing at Fountain Walk in Novi, Michigan. We're going to be right in the center of all that's going on with all those lovely restaurants. I am certainly looking forward to that and all of the authors. We're going to have about 55 authors, 4 book centric vendors. Lots going on. And Vanessa, you have a book that you're going to have there. Tell us about your book. Show us that cover.
Sure, it's behind me, but also right here. This is my grandfather, Norman
Ah,
Stearnes, and the name of my book is Hall of Fame DNA: The Legacy of Norman Turkey Stearnes. So it's a book that I wrote because I wanted to have a conversation with my grandfather. He was a fantastic baseball player, but unfortunately, he played during the time of segregation. So because
mm-hmm,
of Jim Crow segregation, he was not allowed to play within Major League Baseball.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and he was a standout player in the Negro Leagues. He actually ended up uh, entering 5 halls of fame, including
Wow.
the granddaddy of them all, Cooperstown in New York. He went into the Hall of Fame in 2000, but he's also in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, the Michigan Baseball Hall of Fame, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, because that's where he was born, and
Okay.
also the Afro American Sports Hall of Fame as well. So he's gotten a lot of recognition after the fact. He passed away in 1979,
Oh, wow.
but wasn't inducted into his first Hall of Fame until the year 2000. So many of his awards and accolades have come posthumously, and that's
Mm-hmm.
another reason why I wanted to write the book, because he's pretty much one of the greatest baseball players that many people unfortunately have never heard of.
Wow. That is awesome. Where is you said the Afro
Yeah, the Afro
Hall of Fame?
American Sports Hall of Fame is in
Okay.
Michigan.
Oh, is
Uh,
it? Okay.
yeah, so um, it's just unbelievable to think that he's been able to get into all of these halls of fame, after his playing days. He started playing in 1923. So the fact
Wow.
that, and even a little bit before then, the centennial celebration, the 100-year celebration of his career was 2023, because they say he started his career in 1923, but he actually was playing professional baseball before that. There's many different categories of the Negro Leagues. And
Oh,
so
okay.
he was playing in 1922 and 1921 as well. So um, just the fact that, like, looking at history and saying, wow, he started his career in the 1920s, and now here we are in 2025, just now learning his story, and then thinking about the different halls of fame that he's in, and knowing that his stats are actually now included within the Major League Baseball official record. As of
Oh,
last
okay.
year, they decided to include the Negro Leaguer stats. And so the interesting thing is that Grandpa actually ranks top 10 in 3 different categories.
Oh, which 3 categories?
So he is sixth in batting average, he is sixth in slugging percentage, and
Mhm.
he's ninth in OPS. So, what that means to people who don't know baseball at all is that he could hit the ball really well and he could get on base a lot. So he was someone that you wanted to see standing at the plate, because he would deliver often, right? So we're looking at that list. Babe
Mhm.
Ruth is on that list. Ty Cobb is on that list. And so now to see my grandfather's name there, I'm just astounded, because growing up, we never saw his name. We never saw any of the Negro Leaguers' names. I'm
Mhm.
a big sports fan. I played college basketball. I watched ESPN faithfully my whole life. I read Sports Illustrated way more than I should have, you know, and reading all those things and being so in tune with sports culture
Mhm.
honestly can't believe I didn't see my grandfather's name more, but I know why that was, of course, because of
Mhm.
the era, the time that he played, white supremacy, of course. But looking at the stats now and seeing the bigger picture, the fuller picture, and recognizing his greatness and all of the other Negro Leaguers. There was 3,000 Negro Leaguers who excelled
Oh,
and played the
wow.
game at a high level, men and women, all right? So shout out to all of them.
Wow, 3,000. Didn't realize they were that it was that big of a league.
Yes, yes, very extensive, and something that uplifted the community as well. So, just being able to hear their stories now, when they were silenced in the past, and many of
Mm,
them are no longer with us except for a very precious few. That was another reason why I definitely wanted to write the book, was to make sure that they no longer remain hidden, and
mhm,
that people will actually have a chance to go back and say, "Oh, the Negro Leagues, what was that?" Or, "Who were the
mhm.
stars in that league, and what would have happened if they had played alongside of, their
Ooh.
baseball brothers, within Major League Baseball?" So, um, the book gave me an opportunity to do a lot. I actually got to speak to him. I wrote the book as if I were talking directly to my grandfather. So writing him
Oh,
a letter and share
nice.
all that has transpired since he passed away. So, it's very healing for me, and also, um, for many other people who've read this book have said, "Wow, first of all, I didn't know the history of the game, so thank you for illuminating that history, but also thank you for making me think about my own family."
Mm,
Whether they're baseball fans or not,
right.
they're really excited to, share with me that they started looking up their family tree and asking more questions about their grandparents, their great grandparents, their aunts and
Mhm,
uncles. And they've learned so much more, not just about their family, but about themselves too, as they've uncovered some of that hidden treasure right there
mhm,
within the family. So that's the power of this book, I think, is, it goes well beyond baseball. Baseball is the entry point for many people,
mhm.
or if they really love history, then, of course, history buffs love to dive in and put on their Indiana Jones hat so that they can all of these artifacts and box scores and really cool things. But it's been something too that's been eye-opening for people who don't love baseball and have learned about themselves or about family or the world around them.
So, you wrote this as a dedication to your grandfather,
Yes.
and did how much research did you have to delve into that, or is there a lot of it, like, you already had that was
So
passed
quite a
down?
bit, and I should back up and say, yes, it's in dedication to my grandfather, but it's also in dedication to my grandmother. And let me see if I
Oh.
can pull this picture up here and show you grandma. This is Grandma Nettie with her sunglasses on, looking all cool. Oh, she had her Hall of Fame Cooperstown hat on and everything. So she was always representing my grandfather and telling his story to me ever since I was 7 years old.
Oh,
So I
wow.
remember being 7 years old, sitting on the living room floor of her
Mhm.
house in Detroit, and she'd be watching the Detroit Tigers.
Okay.
And
Of
I
course.
remember thinking to myself as a little kid, like, why does my grandma like this team so much? Why does baseball
Mm,
mean so much to her?
okay.
And what's all this cheering about? And she kept telling me over the years the story of my grandfather, the story of the Negro Leagues, why
Mhm.
it was important. Like I said, beyond baseball, because I was learning who I was, who my ancestors were, a lot about history and
Mhm.
how baseball helped to opened the door for civil rights and paved the way for that too as well, and how sports ended up helping people understand how to see each other more deeply as human.
Mhm.
And so the book is actually in dedication to her,
Okay.
even though it's to my grandfather. I wanted to make sure people knew that she was just as important and just as vital in my life as he has been, even though he's the one that has the plaques and the stats and the recognition. Um, I would not have known quite a bit about his journey had it not been for her. So
Okay.
my history of Turkey Stearnes begins with my grandmother. And then it expanded into meeting different historians who have shared so much
Oh.
about my grandfather's life through box scores that they had in newspapers, for example, because
Hmm.
no social media during that time, no
No.
ESPN, no sports illustrated, right? All the stuff that I was able to learn about, not just baseball, but all the sports through, they didn't have those same platforms back then.
Hmm.
So newspaper was essential, especially Black newspapers that were, sharing the box scores. There were sometimes comics that were drawn
Oh.
that illustrated, my grandfather's game or other players too as well. And then there's just a ton of artifacts that, various historians have collected over the years and preserved.
Hmm.
So meeting them, talking with them, getting emails from them, going to different conferences. There's a Jerry Malloy Negro Leagues conference that happens every year.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and, having that opportunity really expanded my knowledge and helped to fill in the gaps and give me those missing puzzle pieces of my grandfather's life since my grandmother was not able to go to, my grandfather's games, for example.
Oh.
So, um, I did learn quite a bit through the research of others. And just to be honest, I would spend every night. This
Hmm.
is how in my nights for many years throughout my 20s and 30s, I would just surf the web, seeing what I could find, what blogs were out there, any little crumbs of information that I could find about my grandfather. Like I said, I was trying to fill in the gaps of his story because he was very quiet. Like I said, I never met him because he passed away in 79 and I
Okay.
missed him by just 4 years. Um,
Ah.
he was very, very quiet and introverted, so he didn't
Ah.
talk about, his career and his games and what his thoughts were about all of it very
Hmm.
often. He let his bat do the talking.
Yeah.
And so, learning from, teammates of his. There's a
Hmm.
teammate, Ron Schoolboy Teasley, who we call him Coach Teasley because he ended up becoming a coach at Detroit Northwestern High School and winning
Oh.
15 championships and doing all these great things here. He was a teammate of my grandfather's when they played on
Okay.
the Toledo Clubs, and he's still living. He's 98 years old, and
Wow.
yeah, so the legend, right? He's a living
Yeah.
legend, and he's
Nice.
let you know, he's been so gracious in terms of sharing everything that he remembers about his time playing baseball and also playing alongside my grandfather. And that's been very vital to me too,
Mhm.
as well, in the process of writing the book, but also, you know, after the book was published and everything, just continuing to have those talks with him have been uh, heartwarming and emotional for me because like I said, never met my grandfather, never had the opportunity to talk to him. So to be able to talk with a 98-year-old living legend who was a teammate of my grandfather's, and
That is
he
awesome.
was from the Dodgers. He got signed by the Dodgers when
Oh,
Jackie Robinson was on the team too, as well.
wow.
So this man is, an icon in many ways and a hero.
Yeah.
Um, but just being able to talk to him has been such a blessing in my life too.
So did you record all of these conversations that you had with them, or did
Oh yeah.
you Okay, I was gonna say, I would hope that you recorded them and didn't just try to write, because that would be a for me, that would be a distraction trying to write it all down.
Yeah, and so the interesting thing is I actually didn't have those conversations with him until after I wrote the book.
Oh, wow.
So I did, I had met him once, and I had listened to him speak, and so I wrote some notes, right? I
Mhm.
had those things for the book, but actually after um, I wrote the book and published it, I got even closer with him because of having the opportunity to host a podcast for ABC
Oh.
called Reclaim the Forgotten League. and he was
Nice.
one of the people that we wanted to interview, of course, to tell the
Mhm.
story of the Negro Leagues, and since he's a living legend that lived through it all. So I had an opportunity to interview him there and at his house and record that. And I had another opportunity later to interview him again for another feature story that I was doing for that Negro Leagues conference that I mentioned earlier. So
Mhm.
I'm blessed to, have so many opportunities to sit down with him and to give him his flowers while he's here, because that's something my grandfather was not able to have. So I know how important that is.
So with this, I mean, this is such a very personal book. Are you
Yes.
planning on any other books? And if so, what direction are you headed in?
Oh, you trying to give away all my secrets right now. Like these exclusive.
Well, just
Uh,
share a little.
um, so I'm an English teacher in addition to being an author, and so there's so many
Oh.
stories that obviously I'm sharing with young people constantly. And I'm a big movie buff. Just went to see a screening of Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler's new film Sinners. That's about vampires,
Oh,
and actually it's set in the Jim Crow era. So I was like, "Whoa, that
interesting.
has definitely a connection to the
Mhm.
time period of my book." But my book is not about vampires. I want to clarify. Michael B.
Grandpa
Jordan is
was Grandpa was not a vampire.
right. But, and having those opportunities to, do those things and to be, someone that's constantly reviewing and exploring literature and media,
Mhm.
it has really uh it's really helped my creativity and, has given me many, many, many different ideas for books. So I have a list going right now of books that I would like to write. But I definitely would love to write a book about Coach Ron Schoolboy Teasley that I just mentioned,
Mhm.
especially after sitting down with him for those interviews that have been extensive and very personal for me. I think that more people need to know his story. They have no idea that this man is here right now, ready to
Yeah.
share. And I would love to see his story make it to a bigger platform, and
Okay.
just to have it shared with so many people, because I think he's a very inspirational figure, and
Mhm.
not just because of what he did on the field, and not just because of what he did as a coach, and not just because he holds many records too, for his
Mhm.
athletic prowess, but because of the type of person that he is. I mean, he's the type of human that has inspired so many people to be the best version of themselves.
Mhm.
And I think those stories are really transformative when you can look at a real life person and be inspired and motivated to strive for something, on a deeper level. And he's just been incredible. So I would love to write about him. But I do like writing about uh, you know um, things that are how do I say this? The English teacher has no words, right?
Oh, to leave the English teacher speechless.
Yeah, not easy to do, but sometimes easy to do after a long day of teaching, which is probably what we're doing right now. But I do like to write stories that help people reflect
Mhm.
on who they are and where they're going and where they've been and where they would like to go. And I also like to write stories that help people connect. So whether it's about sports or movies or music or just life in general, I think stories that can captivate an audience, but also uh, hit them in a deeper way that
Mhm.
speaks volumes about bringing this world together, for example, and helping people to
Mhm.
unite. I think those stories are really important, especially in this time. And
Oh, yeah.
I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I would love to be a part of helping to create positive change. That's something that's really important to me.
So you said you're an English teacher.
Yes.
Where do you teach English at?
So I'm in the Bloomfield Hills School District,
Oh, okay.
and I teach high school.
Ooh.
And uh, I have to give a shout out to my students if they're going to watch this, because they're amazing. My 10th graders, especially, have been very inspirational to me and
Mhm.
have opened my eyes and my mind and my heart to so many different things, and the power of literature. And how, again, like I said, it can bring people together and help people understand more deeply who they are, or to strive for more,
Mhm.
um, and to unite others. So I think that teaching has given me an opportunity to sharpen my skills with the writing, and
Mhm.
recognizing how powerful, the written word is, and the spoken word. And I'm just grateful that to work with so many awesome young people. They keep me
So
on my toes.
oh, I bet they do. Um, do you see yourself down the road, or when do you see yourself down the road retiring? And what would your second career be?
Good question. I can't visualize what retirement looks like, to be honest. And I think each day brings something new.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to remain open to wherever, life is going to take me, where this journey is going to take me. I would have never have imagined that, for example, last year I would have been hosting a podcast for ABC. That's something
Mhm.
that just came about, but it wasn't something that I sought out. It was
Mhm.
something that just naturally and organically happened as a result of, uh, getting more invested with my grandfather's story, and being more purposeful
Mhm.
about sharing his story. And I think the stars aligned, and he played for the Detroit Stars. I'm rocking a jersey right now.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
the stars really align with that. And so I'm just, open to um, continuing down the path and seeing what the future holds. But I love teaching. I do love my students so much. I can't envision a time where I wouldn't be teaching in some capacity, even if I were to retire in
Mm.
the next 10 years or so. Um, I think mentorship is important, and my grandfather loved young people too as well. He would walk around the community and give away, bats and baseballs and his equipment, and tell young people stay in school. It's really important, stay in school. So I come from a line of teachers too as well. My mother was a teacher that I mentioned earlier, and a great one at
Mhm.
that. So, I've been coaching basketball for years, and
Mm.
just have always been involved with students in some capacity. And I do want to continue to help young people, um, no matter where this path leads me. But I really do enjoy writing and speaking and storytelling. Being a podcast host was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot about my voice, not just the voice that I use to, share the information, but actually, how many different voices I can do. Because part of the process was like, okay, now say it like a robot, and now do this, and now do that. And I had to learn how to use my voice so many different ways, and I didn't know that I had, 100 different styles in there,
Mhm.
including Marilyn Monroe and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. So, like I said, I'm just open to learning so much, and I'm just so grateful for this journey. But um, I'm not really sure what the future holds. I'm just um, continuing to be my best self, and being open to opportunities as they arise. And I do want to continue to share the stories of hidden figures, and, like I said, inspire other people to unite and reach higher.
That is so awesome. I can't wait to meet you in person at the end of June. And I hope that all your students show up for you at the event. That would be awesome. You're going to be one of 55 authors. So we've got lots there. There's about 46 different genres that will be represented in some form at the event, and we're going to have somewhere around 300 book titles.
That's
That's a lot.
amazing. That's all. It'll be a good time. If my students come, though, I can't be held responsible for anything that they say or do.
The teacher
No, they're
disclaimer.
no, they're fantastic. They're so amazing and just really excited about learning and so I think that they'll be excited to hear about this and maybe a few will show up. We'll see.
That'd be awesome. Well, I can't wait to meet you in June. And thank you for taking time out of your day to share about this awesome book that you wrote. And I will see you in June.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Definitely looking forward to June.